With Far Cry 6 confirmed, and obviously with the speculation as well as just the hype really building, guys, within the community for this upcoming title, I wanted to talk and take this segment of the show to talk about Giancarlo Esposito's character and really talk about everything around, the villain, this new villain in the Far Cry universe. And so I wanted to talk about it, guys, and I'd love to get your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. So Giancarlo Esposito plays as Anton Castillo in Far Cry 6. And what I gotta say, guys, is I believe that this villain very well could be the most terrifying villain to date in the Far Cry universe. And obviously, guys, we've had some very iconic villains. One thing Ubisoft has done a great job of in the past is creating these very iconic villains. They've done an incredible job with that. And look, I gotta say, guys, that there's so much emphasis on the villains within the Far Cry universe that it almost takes away from your character that you're playing as throughout the course of these stories, which I think is okay because it's a different type, it's a different style, a different take on these types of games, guys, and I love that about the Far Cry series. Well, Anton seems like the type of character that is kind of not so much, soft-spoken, but seems professional, very different from the other, from these other characters or villains that we've had in the past, and that's why I really like it. We have this, this Seed family in Far Cry 5. You've got, of course, Voss in Far Cry 3. You've got, Pagan Min in 4. I mean, you have all these different villains, right? But this one, that being Anton Castillo, could very well be the most terrifying that we've had up to this point because a very soft-spoken but a very powerful dictator, to say the least, that just seems, and I think it's going to be played perfectly by Giancarlo Esposito, to say the least. This is a guy that, in my opinion, obviously, guys, we got to play the game first, right? But I think that just from watching the trailer, he definitely seems like he is the type of character that is, and villain within this universe, that gets whatever he wants, one way or another. And it's the way he has the way with words. He has, obviously he takes real pride in the power that he's accumulated over time. And obviously he's mentoring his, his son Diego, which there's a huge rumor obviously going around, guys, that Diego is a young Voss, which would be a very interesting concept. It's hard to say whether or not that's actually true, simply because obviously in Far Cry 3, guys, they didn't have like the technology that we can see obviously in Far Cry 6, like Diego's playing with has a smartphone and such, and so that is, unless they introduce time machines and such in Far Cry 6, would be very interesting. I feel like they would. It's hard to say whether or not they're going to do that, but who knows? After coming off of Far Cry 5, I think anything is possible, to say the least, in the Far Cry universe. But that being said, Giancarlo Esposito, I think that this character, it's really going to bring something to the table in Far Cry that we haven't seen before. Number one is, guys, that our character is going to have a voice now, as far as, within this story. And that's going to be some differences, which is going to be great. But I think that the villain here, how they tie this into the rest of the Far Cry universe is going to be very interesting. And that's what I'm really excited about and excited to see. And what that all looks like is going to be, I think it's going to be something, guys. It's going to be something that could really be special moving into, the ending of Far Cry 6 into the future of this series. But I'll tell you one thing, Giancarlo Esposito, just by, those, of course, that trailer that we initially got for Far Cry 6, he's not going to go down without a fight, man. I mean, this is a guy that you can just tell is very much so established, and it's going to be a significant battle to kind of take him out of power. But with that, guys, is Giancarlo Esposito's character within Far Cry 6, that being Anton Castillo, is this going to be the most terrifying villain to date in the Far Cry series? Or is he going to be, Voss? I think a lot of us can agree that he was probably the, most notorious of the villains in the Far Cry universe. I really liked the Seed family as a whole in Far Cry 5. I thought that they each had very interesting characteristics, which was an interesting take on it. But now we're going back from a number of people that are villains, a number of villains, to now just one main villain, maybe two if Diego ends up being a young Voss. A very interesting concept. But I would love to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about it? Is he going to be the most terrifying villain in the Far Cry universe today? Let me know, and let's have a real conversation about it. And for more Far Cry 6 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.